Hello. So I decided that while I had all the apples here that Sergey and Oliver picked at the farm yesterday, that I would go ahead and make an apple tart. So I already made the dough actually earlier today because it needs to sit for at least an hour. I just use a food processor and it's mostly just flour, water, sugar, a little salt, and butter. So anyway, so I'm going to roll this out and show you how I go about doing all that. So this is my family's favorite apple dessert over apple pie actually. So this has been chilling for several hours, so it's probably a little harder than I would actually like. So just get your workspace floured. I want a long, skinny kind of rectangle, about 11 by 14. You just kind of do your best. It can be very rough edged and you can use a large knife to get it to the space that you'd like. I am actually really bad about rolling out pie crust, so mine will be pretty hilarious. And you just kind of keep working it. If it sticks, just add a little bit more flour. But I'm sorry, again, we've got two dogs here. Our dog does not like my son's dog. He's old and cranky. And just keep working it. Doing it fairly thin, it actually gets nice and crispy in the oven. I'll have Sergey show you the dog soon because you're going to hear him a lot in this picture. And just keep turning. No Dees. Show a picture. So this is what we're dealing with at the moment here. Puppy trying to play with old cranky dog. This is Diesel, super sweet. He's a blue heeler, and our dog is a Yorkie and doesn't like anybody. Diesel. No.
Stop.
Go. No. Okay. As you can see, this is not a very good rectangle at all, but I'm getting a little bit better. Okay, it's as good as I'm going to get it for right now. So you want to take a sheet pan and place parchment paper down. So I have a half sheet pan and I've cut some parchment paper. Then truthfully the easiest thing to do is just kind of pick it up and place it on here the best that you can. And you can cut it square. Usually these are in a rectangle. Clearly I didn't quite make that. And while I'm cutting and peeling apples, I'm just going to put this in the refrigerator so the butter stays nice and cold. So again, I'm doing the same thing I did for apple pie. I'm just peeling the apples, and again, these are the Honey Crisp. You can use Granny Smith. To be truthful, the more tart apple, the better for this particular dessert. The nice thing about the peeler is you don't take off too much apple, just mostly peel. When I try to use a knife, I take half the apple or vegetable. Just peel it as cleanly as you can. There's a little piece or two, it doesn't matter. And I think we probably need at least one more. So I'll finish peeling these. Okay, so I'm cutting again the cheeks off the apples. It's such an easy thing to do. It makes slicing so much easier. Instead of the old school where you had to core down into the apple, which none of us want to do. And for this, again, you want about the same size slices. They should be as even as possible so you can see the thickness. And this will make the tart look really nice. Because we're going to kind of lay it on there sort of pretty, even though the crust is very pretty. So I'll finish chopping these and then I'll show you the rest. Okay, I decided I'm going to trim this off here real quick. So just taking that edge off, we'll just kind of square up the ends. Okay. Not the most attractive, but we're good. Okay, so now what you want to do is take your apples, and you can lay them any way that you would like to see them. So you just want every surface, and you kind of overlap them some as such, all the way over to the edge if you can. Okay, so I've covered pretty much the whole surface, and as you can see, mine aren't real pretty, but we've got the apples all on here. Now we're going to take about half a cup of sugar, and we're just going to sprinkle it over the apples as evenly as we can. This is half a cup, so I'll do a couple of these. Just sprinkle it nice and even. Now we're going to dot the top with a half a stick or 4 tablespoons of butter. Seems like a lot of sugar, but the crust only has a tablespoon in it and lots of butter. And these apples are a little bit tart, not quite as tart, so I probably won't use a full half a cup in truth. I think this is probably good. But the sugar combined with the butter makes this nice brown crispy. So at some point you may even think it's burning. It's not. Now we're just going to take half a stick of butter and cut it into small pieces. Fastest way to go about it. And just take your pieces and just kind of spread them all over. You want the butter cold to start with, so just take it right out of the refrigerator. And I'm going to finish dotting the whole top with it. Okay, so I dotted it with the butter. I'm going to put it in the oven again, 375. Actually, I need to double check that. I think it might be 400. But I'll give you the exact when I get done with it in the oven and let you know. So it's going to bake for probably about 40 minutes. So now that you have the butter on top, you want to take the tart and put it into a preheated 400-degree oven, which I believe would be 200 Celsius. And you want to just put it in the oven and bake it for roughly 45 minutes to an hour. You really will see the butter and sugar kind of crystallize, and it almost turns like very, very dark brown. That's normal. My only tip is when it's all finished is I actually take and slide it off onto a cutting board, a clean one. And for some reason I feel that absorbs any moisture and keeps the crust super crispy. So we're going to put it in the oven, and then I will show it to you when it comes out. Okay, so this cooked for about 50 minutes. And like you can see, it gets pretty brown. This oven I don't have calibrated very well, so. And then you're supposed to use apple preserve, which I forgot I don't have. So any jelly would actually work. And you just kind of smear it on there. And that's pretty much it. And then let it cool for a few minutes. I slid it onto the board, and it will just be amazing. You should scoop the jelly out, actually put it in a bowl. And if you can find apple jelly, add just a little bit of water to it. That's actually ideal. This is black currant, which is not my favorite. Apple is better though. You can even use grape jelly, cheap one, pretty much anything. The original recipe calls for apple jelly with a liqueur, like an apple liqueur. You add just a tiny bit. I've never actually done it that way, just whatever I have in the pantry. And then you want this to cool for probably 20 minutes or more. Then it should be nice and crisp, and you just cut it into squares and you're ready to enjoy. So French apple tart. Say, yep.
We're making them moldy now. We're getting pancakes from scratch.
Oh, Mommy, what are you doing with Papa?
Say, this is our pancakes.
Pancakes.
Wow, it's wonderful.
They're yummy now.
Ooh, Oliver, we need to wipe your mouth.
You want to try?
It's too hot.
Too hot?
Watch your...
Okay, now I gotta figure out how we're gonna flip it. I think I messed up this one again.
I'll do it.
No, it's too hard, Oliver, so even I cannot do it good. Cooking. Every day just cooking. Oka! Opa! Woohoo! Looking good in the neighborhood. I hop. Say I hop, I hop, I hop, I hop, I hop. Duh.
Say, Daddy, you are weird.
No, I'm not. You my little boy never cook, okay?
Yes, he's gonna be a chef.
Big stuff.
In best San Francisco restaurant, huh?
Okay.